Guys, Mr. K here. So this is the Tecno Camon 18 Premier. Now, one of the major features of this phone is the fact that it comes with a stabilized gimbal feature. But is this feature enough reason for you to make the upgrade, especially if you are using the Tecno Camon 17 Pro? Well, let's find out, shall we? So before I show you what this guy can do, let's check out what is inside the box. So the first thing you'd find is the Camon 18 itself. It comes in two color variants, the Polar Night, that's the one I have, and the Vast Sky. Honestly, I wonder who comes up with all of these names. Yeah. Anyways, other accessories include the transparent rubber case, you have the warranty card, a 33 watts charging brick, SIM ejector, a Type-C cable, and the earphones. Now, let's quickly talk about the ports for a second, and nothing has been changed there. So the Camon 18 Premier still has a power button that serves as a fingerprint sensor, and surprisingly, the Camon 17 Pro had a slight edge over the Camon 18 Premier, and by slight, I'm talking about less than a second. All right, now that all of that is out of the way, what is really new on the Tecno Camon 18 Premier and what stays the same? So first off, I have created a spec sheet to show you the major upgrades and downgrades, yeah? And the first major upgrade is with the price. So the Tecno Camon 18 Premier sells for, drum rolls please, yeah, 182,000 naira. Anyways, the next upgrade is with the build. Now, I might be wrong, but it just seems like Android phone manufacturers recently got a memo that flat designs are now the new cool, because a good percentage of them are now adopting a flat design, and the Camon 18 is no exception. By the way, it uses a plastic frame that has been sandwiched with glass on both the front and the back of the device, and as you can see, the camera design has also been upgraded. As for how all of this affects the weight, surprisingly, the Camon 18 Premier is lighter, coming in at 200 grams as opposed to 201 on the Camon 17 Pro. Yes. Now, the only issue I noticed with the build is that it seems to retain more fingerprint stains than before. But moving away from that, the size of the phone has been upgraded slightly from 6.4 inch to 6.7 inch. Tecno is also using an AMOLED screen as opposed to the LCD screen we got earlier on their previous model. Of course, all of that is paired with the trendy 120Hz refresh rate. Now, since this is an AMOLED screen, the image quality looks contrasted and warm as opposed to the slightly bluish tone we got on the Camon 17 Pro. Anyways, the next improvement I'd like to touch on is with the Camon 18 going from the Hello G95 to the G96. Yes, and as far as how that affects the performance, well, not so much. So for example, my PUBG still maxed out at HD just like it did with the Camon 17 Pro. Meanwhile, you're still getting 8 gigs of RAM with 256 gig internal storage. So speaking of internals, guess who now has a new notification panel? So the Camon 18 Premier is using the latest version of the HiOS, the HiOS 8.0, along with Android 11, although Tecno claims that they'd upgrade this to Android 12 in the coming weeks, but I'll update you once they do that. Anyway, you know how you'd have to, swipe down anywhere to access the notification panel? Well, that is not the case with the Camon 18. This time, you'd have to swipe down from the top right corner to access the notification panel, then swipe down from the top left corner to access your notifications. Now, I'm sure this reminds you of something that starts with M and ends with I, or something that starts with I and ends with S. But on a serious note, I don't think I've gotten any bloatware notification since I started using this device. I'm guessing that Tecno Mobile has finally listened to our prayers and supplications, right? But don't get me wrong, the Tecno Camon 18 Premier still comes with a couple of bloatware applications, but I haven't gotten bloatware notifications from them yet, right? And hopefully it stays that way. All right, so let's talk about one of the major upgrades to the Camon 18, and that obviously has to do with the camera. So on paper, the Camon 18 still uses a 64MP rear camera, the same as on the Camon 17 Pro, but the ultra-wide and telephoto lenses have actually been upgraded. Another upgrade is with the features. So the ultra-wide camera, which is the second camera, now uses a stabilized gimbal feature. Now, is this a gimmick feature? Well, in a lot of ways, it is not. Now, let me explain. For one, this is not a software upgrade, rather it is actually a hardware upgrade, and as such, Tecno Mobile has actually included a couple of gimbal components like the gimbal frame that will help you get super steady movement in your videos. Yeah. So does it work? Well, in practice, it does. For example, I was actually shaking the camera around an object to see how stabilized the shot would be. Now, pay attention to the text. And as you can see, there's a lot of motion blur with the shots taken without the gimbal feature, as opposed to the one taken with the gimbal feature. But let's take this test outside. And here's a look at a side-by-side of the same shot, so you can see what the improved stabilization looks like. Now, the Camon 17 Pro actually had a good stabilization, but with the Camon 18 Premier, there's a noticeable difference because the gimbal model has been able to smooth the shots out even more, especially in extreme cases when you're running. Now, the only issue I noticed with this feature is that it only works with the ultra wide angled mode and not with the main lens. And we already know that the ultra wide angled camera is not as good as the 64MP main camera. Yes. Anyway, the zoom lenses have also been upgraded. Now you can get 5 times optical zoom and 60 times hyper zoom. This is an upgrade from the 10 times zoom we got on the Camon 17 Pro. Now, the 60 times hyper zoom can be found under the super moon mode, and just like the name implies, it lets you capture the moon easily. However, using the 60 times for anything that is not a moon is definitely a no-go area because the images do not look good. Now, moving to the camera quality, and I'm going to be starting with the rear camera. And I think that Tecno has made some slight changes to the color tone of the images, but overall I feel that the images from the Camon 18 looks more vibrant with good amount of details. But let's switch to portrait mode, and the narrative is slightly similar. For example, take a look at this picture I took of Easy. Shout out to Easy Boye. Anyways, the images from the Camon 18 Premier looks slightly vibrant than that of the Camon 17. I also think that the background looks blurrier on the 18 than on the 17. But when you take it indoors, the narrative is a bit different, right? I feel that the color tone is now more obvious, as you can see from this image right here. I feel that shots from the Camon 17 looks more true to life than that on the Camon 18. Let me know what you think in the comment box. Meanwhile, here are the results from the 32MP front camera. What do you guys think of the results? Now, moving on to other camera modes, and this time we're getting a downgrade. Yes, so you can't shoot 4K videos on the Camon 18 Premier, which is a downgrade from the Camon 17 Pro. Now, the same also goes for the slow-mo mode. The Camon 18 Premier only shoots at 240 frames per second, as opposed to 960 frames per second on the Camon 17 Pro. But yeah, let's talk about the last downgrade on the Camon 18, and it has to do with the battery size. So we are getting a 4750 mAh battery along with a 33 watts charge. Now this is down from 5000 mAh that we got on the Camon 17 Pro. And honestly, I'm quite surprised with this because you'd expect that Tecno would have increased the battery size to accommodate the slightly bigger screen. Yeah. Anyways, to see how well the battery fares, I tried to play a couple of games on both devices for 30 minutes. And here are the results at the end of the test. What do you guys think about the result? Let me know in the comment box. And as far as the charging is concerned, I got this to charge in 1 hour 8 minutes. So that is it, guys. Now with the Tecno Camon 18, you get a couple of upgrades and a few downgrades. Now if you currently own the Tecno Camon 17 Pro and you're wondering whether to, switch to the Camon 18 Premier, well, I'd say just hold on to your device until next year when Tecno will probably launch the Tecno Camon 19 or 20. That is, if you're looking to still switch to another Camon device. However, if you are using the Tecno Camon 16, for example, or an older Camon device, and you're looking to upgrade to another Camon device, then just go for the Tecno Camon 18 Premier because you get a better looking device, bigger display, higher refresh rate and chipset, and of course more camera features. However, the major edge that the Tecno Camon 17 Pro has over the Camon 18 Premier is with the front camera, the video resolution, and the battery size. But guys, over to you. What do you guys think about all of the updates and upgrades? What are your thoughts? And as always, if you find this video useful in any way, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.